Fourth week of Lent. Commit. See, and at his gate lay a poor man named Lazarus, full of sores, who desired to be fed with what fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores. Luke chapter 16 verses 20 to 21. Sunday of the fourth week of Lent. Jesus is not crucified because everyone loves him. The Gospels tell of Jesus' freedom to lay down his life of his own free will, of course. But there are those who want him dead. They are threatened by his presence, his words, and his identity as the Son of God. Jesus' love knows no limits. His passion for mercy and his relentless pursuit of those in need eventually pushes the Pharisees too far. It's one thing to love. It is another thing altogether to love as Jesus loves. As we enter the fourth week of Lent, let us be ready for Jesus to push the boundaries. On the other hand, Jesus' message of mercy liberates the hearts of those bound by shame. On the other hand, Jesus' message of mercy is too much for some of the Pharisees, and tension is building. Immediately after the parable of the prodigal son, Jesus tells the parable of the dishonest steward, a story with implicit reference to the Pharisees. He then condemns their materialism through the parable of the rich man and Lazarus, Luke chapter 16 verses 19 to 31. Lazarus was a poor man who begged at the gate of a rich man's house, but the rich man ignored him. When Lazarus died, he went to Father Abraham in heaven. The rich man died and went to hell. The rich man asked Father Abraham to send Lazarus to him with water to cool his anguish, but Father Abraham said no. Then the rich man asked Father Abraham to send Lazarus to his brothers to warm them, but it was too late for them too. What is striking in this particular parable is the affliction of Lazarus. He is poor. He lives hungry. He is humiliated day after day as he is forced to beg, to highlight Lazarus' suffering. Jesus says, "Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores." Luke chapter 16 verse 21. On the heels of the parables of the Good Samaritan and the prodigal son, Jesus yet again uses a parable to drive home the fact that he is not afraid of our mess. What is also striking in this parable is how the rich man is described as having grown so indifferent to Lazarus' suffering that he no longer sees or notices him. Imagine how this detail stirs the hearts of Jesus' listeners. Certainly, the story has stung the conscience of the Pharisees. But think of how it moves the hearts of those who are on the fringes, who are all too familiar to be unseen and unnoticed. They hang on Jesus' every word. When we suffer, we are often tempted to believe that we are alone, that even God has abandoned us. We are tempted to believe that no one sees our hearts. When we suffer, we may be tempted to think that those around us have grown indifferent to our suffering and no longer see us. Jesus' parable drives home the fact that he sees Lazarus. He sees suffering. He sees everyone, including you, in your suffering. For your prayer, stay here for an additional 10 minutes. Today, pray with Luke chapter 16, verses 19 to 31. Be with Jesus. Listen to him. What stirs in your heart as he teaches the parable?